On today's show, the Cavs finish off a sweep of the Miami Heat in historic fashion here in Miami. Heat culture might just be over, and the Cavs are moving on to the second round. We'll talk about all of it on this bonus edition of Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Cunningham. You might know me from my time covering the Cleveland Cavaliers, places like my Substack, The Inside Shot, Cleveland Magazine, 92.3 The Fan, and a number of other stops along the way. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. And if you're watching this bonus edition of the show on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This edition of Locked On Cavs brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. The Cleveland Cavaliers absolutely destroyed the Miami Heat on Monday night, 138-83. This 55-point victory is the largest margin of victory in an elimination game in NBA postseason history. The Cavs made Miami quit very early in this game. And as you can see, I'm recording this from a random room inside the Kaseya Center. The Cavs flag up behind me is because that is, I guess, what the Miami Heat does for opposing teams. This is, I believe, the room where the executives for the Cavs, this is their suite. It's just kind of near the media room. So that's why I'm in here, and that's why that flag is behind me. But the Cavs made Miami quit very early on in this game. The first possessions of the Cavs lose the opening tip, and Miami tries to get a pass to Khalil Ware. Jarrett Allen, of course, defending Khalil Ware, Miami center, tips the pass away, chases down the loose ball, takes 2 or 3 dribbles, dunks with the right hand. Cavs take a 2-0 lead. Tyler Herro would hit a 3. I don't remember if it was the very next possession or one possession later. I think there was another stop built in there. I think the Cavs got a second turnover, actually. Then Miami led 3-2. That was the only good thing that happened for Miami the entire night. The Cavs absolutely destroyed Miami. This is one of the most uneven victories I have ever seen. The Cavs were so dominant in every facet of the game. The first quarter, the Cavs outscored the Heat 43-17, and it honestly didn't even feel that close. Like, this felt like as soon as Jarrett Allen dunked that basketball, and I understand that because Tyler Herro hit a 3, which, by the way, was the only shot he made in this game, I understand that this was not a wire-to-wire victory for the Cavs. But whatever you thought of Game 3, in terms of how dominant that 37-point win was for the Cavs, and it was dominant, and it was incredibly impressive. This was way much worse, I should say. That sounds better. I've been in Miami a long time. This was so much more for the Cavs. They were dominant defensively. They were dominant offensively. They did every single thing well. Tyler Herro couldn't do anything. Bam Adebayo couldn't do anything. Nobody for Miami played well. And it felt like everybody for Cleveland played well. The Cavs looked like, and I talked about this on Monday's edition of Locked On Cavs. The Cavs are not just, in this game, we're not just playing the Heat. They were sending a message to the rest of the NBA. The message that the Cavs are true championship contenders and they should be treated as favorites along with OKC, along with Boston. Those other two teams are great. But remember the conversation after OKC hosted Memphis in game 1 of that series, and they led by like 50 points at one point, maybe 51 or 52 points. And the conversation was, could this series, and then they won game 2 by 19, I think it was, could this series be the greatest margin of victory in a postseason series ever? And like after one game, if you want to have that conversation, that's fine. That's, I suppose, a legitimate thing considering that it was such a big blowout in game 1. That ended up finishing like 6th. This Cavs series, the Cavs won this series in 4 games. They outscored Miami by 122 points in 4 games. That is the largest margin of victory in a 4-game sweep in NBA history. The only game that didn't feel dominant was game 2. The Cavs won that game because Donovan Mitchell was a superstar in the fourth quarter. Game 3, they came to Miami at a time where the Heat should have been the more desperate team and absolutely crushed them. And on Monday night, they absolutely destroyed the will of the Miami Heat. And I don't know how much will they had before going into this game. Like, I entered the building Monday thinking, I think Miami's going to put up a pretty big fight in this game. Now, I thought the Cavs would win, but I thought it would be something between 8 and 12 points. I thought it'd be respectable. I thought we would see a good game from Tyler Herro. I thought that Bam Adebayo would play much better than he did on Saturday. And I just thought organizationally, Miami was going to give so much more effort. But what I saw on Monday was an incredible performance from the Cavs. Like, they looked like the team that was desperate here. They looked like a team that wanted to keep playing basketball. And Miami looked like a team that everybody wanted to get on a plane to Cancun first thing Tuesday morning. That's what we saw on the floor. I think that we should never hear about Heat culture again, ever. And I understand that what this organization has done has been really great, but you can't talk about culture the way that gets talked about and then be losing at home by 60 points in an elimination game, because that's what happened on Monday. Part of that's because Miami didn't want to be there. Part of that's because the Cavs are that good. The Cavs were that dominant in this game. Everything they did was great. DeAndre Hunter was awesome. Donovan Mitchell came out in this game, really set the tone. He scored 8 points in the first 3.5 minutes. And that is kind of when you knew, okay, this game is over. Like, it was very early, and the Cavs were up 15-3 at one point early on. And you knew this one's over. We can start writing the story now. I could have started the podcast at that point. I would have known the Cavs led by 60, but it felt very early on in this game that Miami didn't have a chance, that the Cavs came out and imposed their will on the Heat. The Cavs came out in this game and they said, we are finishing this tonight. This isn't going back to Cleveland. Don't worry about getting on that plane. We will handle business right now. And that's what they did to a degree that I have not seen before, because it hasn't happened before in the playoffs. That's what the Cavs did on Monday night against the Miami Heat. It was an incredible thing to witness in person. Donovan Mitchell was awesome. Jarrett Allen was awesome. Ty Jerome was awesome. DeAndre Hunter was awesome. Everybody that played for the Cavs was awesome. Even the guys that came off the bench that played when the game was decided. I thought Javonte Green did some really good things. I thought Isaac Okoro was pretty good. Tristan Thompson did some good things. Those guys all played the entire fourth quarter for the most part. That speaks to, I think, where the Cavs are at organizationally. That there was, I think, not within the team, but I think there was reason to, after game 2, Miami cuts it as close to 2 points in the fourth quarter. And then Donovan Mitchell puts the team on his back and carries them to a win. But then coming to Miami, which historically for the Cavs has not been an easy place to play. In their franchise history, they have not done very well in Miami. To come here and win 2 games without Darius Garland, who did not play because of that toe injury again on Monday night, to come here, play these 2 games, and win them by a combined 92 points, I don't know how you can be anything other than incredibly impressed with what the Cavs did down here. They showed a level of focus. They showed a level of maturity. They showed a level of, quite frankly, defense and offense too. I mean, scoring 138 points, even if 27 of those came when the game was previously decided in the fourth quarter. I guess you could say the game was decided at halftime. The Cavs led by 45 in the first half, but they did everything in Miami at a championship level. And that is what you take away, not just from Monday night, but I think that is what you take away from this series, is that the Cavs did everything they needed to do. And yes, Miami is an inferior team. The Cavs are much better than the Miami Heat right now at basketball. They are. It's not close. There is a huge gap in terms of talent between what Cleveland has and what Miami has. Huge gap. But not 122 points. Not that big of a gap. There's not that big of a gap between them and any NBA playoff team. Any team that didn't spend the last couple months of the season tanking for Cooper Flag. That gap might exist there, but not in the postseason. That gap came because of the way the Cavs handled their business mentally, because of how focused they were, because of how much attention to detail they paid on both ends of the floor. Miami tried a lot of different things in this series, and none of it worked. And that's not just because the Cavs have better players. Is that part of it? Absolutely. That's part of it. But the Cavs were, you want to go back and remember that floor that the Heat put down that everybody laughed at, right? Like everybody made jokes about it, and it was really a really corny thing. And in the paint, it was the Heat culture floor. In the paint, it said, hardest working, and of course, this is all caps, hardest working, best conditioned, most professional, unselfish, toughest, meanest, nastiest team in the NBA. That describes the Cavs in this series. They came into Miami and they ruined Heat culture. That's what Cleveland did in sweeping the Heat. And now they can start looking ahead to the second round, and it is hard to be anything other than impressed with what the Cavs did in these two games and ultimately this full 4-game series sweep of the Miami Heat. I want to get into a couple of specific things about this game. Of course, I will have a full Locked On Cavs very early Tuesday morning. So this is coming out. It is, I guess, very, very early Tuesday morning. It's like 11:50 right now as I record this. It'll be up very early Tuesday morning. We'll have a full episode tomorrow that I will have more thoughts that have been fully formed as opposed to this coming very close to the end of the game. So I want to get into a couple of specific things about this game, and we will do that next right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show brought to you by Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it can be easy to lose track of all that cash. Well, that's where Monarch Money comes in, because they'll be your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending right in one place. You can stop managing your money and start building your wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan for those long-term goals that I know you have. And managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. That's not always something that is easy to do. But with Monarch, you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA, that is LOCKEDONNBA, at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's Monarch Money, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's show is also brought to you by Wayfair. Spring is here, and that means it's home project season. Whether you're refreshing a room or tackling a full renovation, Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things home improvement, from small updates like stylish cabinet hardware to major upgrades like new vanity sinks or outdoor lighting. Wayfair has quality products for every budget. Maybe you want to upgrade your kitchen. Maybe you want to upgrade your bathroom. I don't know what your living situation is, but I do have a feeling that it could use an upgrade. And with Wayfair, the selection is incredible. Their free and fast shipping makes it easy too. So there's no hauling heavy items from the store to your home. Plus, they've got top brands like GE and Moen at great prices, and shopping is seamless. You can find exactly what you need to fit your space and style. So visit Wayfair, because they make home improvement easy. Get started now at wayfair.com. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. The thing that stands out most about this game is what the Cavs did defensively. I think it's really easy to look at the offensive numbers. Oh, they scored 138 points, and that's 43 points in the first quarter. And they shot the basketball really, really well, where they made 22 threes in this game. All those things are true. But I think that you have to look at what the Cavs did defensively in this game. And Tyler Herro, as I mentioned earlier, he hit that first three-pointer he took. That gave the Heat a 3-2 lead very early in the first quarter. After that, Herro was 0 of 9 and 0 of 8 from 3. He finished with 4 points, made a free throw. In 30 minutes in this game, Tyler Herro was a minus 44. That is incredibly difficult to do in a postseason game. Minus 44 in 30 minutes. The Cavs did a really good job on him all series, but I really think Max Strus deserves a ton of credit for not only what he did tonight, but tonight I think was the best job that he did on Tyler. I think that what the Cavs did to him really got him out of sorts. It wasn't just that he wasn't making shots, because that's going to happen. Like, Tyler has had games in his career, and he will have more games in his career where he doesn't shoot the basketball well. Every good player goes through that. Every player that's a shooter goes through phases where they're shooting the basketball well or they're not shooting the basketball well. So I don't necessarily look at that. But he looked demoralized very early on. Like, you kind of knew once he missed a couple shots, like, okay, Tyler Herro just does not want to be here. He was not, it wasn't that he wasn't good. It's that the Cavs made it so he wasn't part of anything. They did this in game 3, and they did a better job of this in game 4. And I think that what the Cavs have done, I come away from this series, and I will talk about this more in the full edition of the podcast a little bit later. I came away so impressed with Kenny Atkinson in this series. The coaching adjustments that he made offensively and defensively were superb. I came into this series thinking the Cavs are not going to sweep because Erik Spoelstra is such a good coach that he's going to find a way to get one. And Kenny has a lot better options than Spo does. The Cavs roster is light years ahead of where Miami is. But I think that Kenny coached a better series than Erik Spoelstra did. Maybe it's because the tools in the tool belt just are not what they need to be for Spo, but Miami could not figure out the Cavs defense. And for any concern about what the Cavs were defensively after the All-Star break, and I know I talked about this a lot, and I still think they underachieved during the regular season, I think that this playoff series that they just played, holding Miami to 83 points in this game, and part of it was bad shooting, and they shot the ball better in the fourth quarter once the reserves were in, but doing to Miami what they did defensively, where in 2 games in Miami, the Heat score 87 and 83 points. That is what I came away most impressed by. Now, there's a lot more from this game to get to. There's a lot of stuff to look ahead to in the second round against probably Indiana. We will get to all of that this week on Locked On Cavs. Going to very shortly here, going to kind of compose my thoughts a little bit more and talk more about this game. So if it's very early, you're listening to this, this is the Instant Reaction Pod. There's a full Locked On Cavs pod coming your way wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Again, drop us a 5-star rating, leave us a nice review, be a friend, tell a friend about the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content. The Cavs sweep the Heat, and they're moving on to the second round of the playoffs, and we've got you covered right here at Locked On Cavs.